First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I've got our live shot there of the Tilica Bridge. That still has a lot of ice or slush or whatever is going on there. Not fun stuff to walk in.
That's icy.
For sure.
And you know what? Can you go back to that real quick?
Yeah.
This is actually, I'm going to do something off the fly here.
Okay.
So when you have situations like this, okay, this is a road that people walk and run, and the TriMet and everything goes on, but bridges react differently than roads when it comes to the freezing and the thawing, because you don't have the ground underneath the bridge. So it takes longer. It basically freezes up faster, and it takes longer for ice to thaw on bridges because you have that roadway like that, where there's airflow over the top and the bottom. So when you see all that icy, we have some roads that have thawed and they're doing well because they had de-icer and everything, but that layer that you see there, that's sticking around a little longer. One, temperatures have not warmed up too much, and two, you have that airflow underneath the bridge.
Gotcha. So it's going to take a lot longer for that.
It takes longer for those,
So more treacherous. So
yeah.
I've seen a couple of people walk across that as I've looked at that shot.
Hopefully they
today,
have like little boot cleats on, so
yeah,
just a little quick. I saw that and I was like, ooh, you need to know why.
That is very good information. Yes. And thanks everybody for joining us. I'm Greg Dibbler, of course, Katie Zuniga, who's going to be talking out to us as you have been doing such an amazing job here over the last several days.
I'm trying.
I mean, working tireless hours to bring us these updates and reports on what's going on. The ice storm, of course, finally came through last night. The tail end of all the other stuff that's already happened. And it was so treacherous out there, and still is in a lot of places.
It is. Well, we've been talking about this, and we'll go over this as we talk today. A lot of the highways, main roads, they were treated ahead of time, and so we maybe had just a small amount of time where things were a bit more treacherous, maybe a little iced over, and then now, and I'm gonna have some stuff geared up to show you where things are back to normal. It's the side roads and the non-main roads. Even our drive here, because it's not a main road, getting back from the hotel to here, you know, it was a bit more slushy, but it was like you had to get into a track. If you tried to drive over the bumps, your car was kind of going bonka bonka, You know what I mean? That's a technical term.
Bonka bonka, yeah, that's technical weather term.
Technical weather term for everybody. We're all learning something. So yes, it's the side roads, the main roads, the bridges. Those, all have different conditions. So you might be driving down a road and everything is good, and then you turn down a side road and all of a sudden you're sliding across an intersection because it was untreated or maybe didn't see any sunshine. It's any way to get things thawed. Because if you have a layer of ice over something and you don't have anything exposed to kind of bring in any type of warmth, it seals it in.
So it's not going to melt fast.
It's not going to melt fast. And then we have, cloud cover, more rain coming in. Still, things are on the cooler side for quite a few of us. There's this thing called albedo. And it's the temperature that something gets when it heats up or cools down with how much sun it absorbs. And so white obviously reflects, so it has a high albedo, and black absorbs, so it has a low albedo. And so you would think, oh, well, there's black. Well, if there's stuff covering it up, like I said, no exposed spot for it to start taking in that warmth, it's not going to be able to warm up.
Gotcha.
So that's why even if it's bright and sunny out, sometimes things aren't melting because they're refracting so much of the warmth because of their albedo.
So we are learning things.
Yeah. Okay, I want to show you a road that I was watching last night when the ice storm came in. I was on traffic last night paying attention to what was going on, and I have to tell you, this is probably 2 or 3 times more cars than what I saw at rush hour last night. People definitely heeded the warning of staying home. This is what it looked like when we went into the ice storm. And then by the time we got to around 6 o'clock, it was just a sheet of ice. It just from side to side of the road, from median to median, you couldn't see lines, you couldn't see black, you couldn't see anything. It was 100% completely iced over. Here's a couple other roads that we've been watching. Obviously, this is the one on your left. That is 84 and 257. So that's in Troutdale, where things were closed, where 84 is closed in both directions and on both sides of the Columbia. I'm doing weather again for the 4, and it shows it closed on both sides, both the Washington and the Oregon side of it. And then down in Salem, we watched this camera quite a bit last night because that's where the ice, came up from Eugene to up toward us, and seeing those conditions there, obviously the sides and things like that. There's quite a bit of melting happening in some areas down there. Unfortunately, my best friend that lives in Dallas, she showed me water pouring in between the drywall and the foundation.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
that makes me very concerned about my house right now.
Yes, so you can see it's 43 in Salem, but here's the thing. Again, you got to remember the side roads, the sidewalks, the things that were untreated, they are going to take longer to thaw. In Portland, we're only at 33 right now, so everybody's going, when are we going to, it's going to be a very slow thaw because our temperatures tonight, I'll show you, getting up to maybe 35, 36. Not really getting too much above freezing tonight before tomorrow's east wind kicks back in.
Oh.
And
what are you telling us, Katie?
Yeah,
what are you telling us?
I'm telling you that the thaw is going to be very, very slow. Here's the current radar. We're actually in a little dry spot right now. When you get to the end of that radar there, you can see we don't have much happening. What is falling toward us, there have been pockets of freezing rain. It's a little too warm to our south. Do you see that? I wish I could stop it on it, but you can't. Right here, you see that pink, that salmon color area we were talking about?
Yeah.
So that's all that freezing rain because it just has been too cold for it at the surface to do anything different. And then here's a look at where we're at right now. So
Don't see any freezing rain on there.
No freezing rain at the moment. You see where radar is and what's happening. Not expecting to have too much new precipitation tonight, and we should be mainly dry tomorrow. Here we are, 11 o'clock tonight, 34 degrees in Portland. 39 in Salem, 41 in Corvallis. The red color is the warmer atmosphere where we don't have to worry about the freezing rain. And you'll notice that it does slowly start to close in the gap, but okay, so here we are, 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. Look at Troutdale, look at Bonneville. You see that?
I see what's happening there, and I want to not see it.
I know.
That
and
looks like a more cold wind.
There we go. By the time we get to tomorrow morning, around 6, 7 o'clock, we're back to the east wind.
Wow.
So yeah, we have more of this cold air coming back in. I'll show you here in a minute. We are concerned about certain parts of the metro. We're not expecting this to be widespread. So there's your silver lining. Okay, not expecting this to be widespread for all of the Portland metro areas like we saw last night, but you'll notice it just does not necessarily drop below freezing, but there's always that chance that east wind continues and it gets into the valley and it starts pushing that cold air down toward Woodburn. We really don't see much of that getting into the valley. Everything there from about Woodburn down stays in the above freezing range, so this time it shouldn't be a widespread ice event down there as well. Looking ahead on the model forecast, you'll notice this is 2 o'clock, and there's that salmon color there out in the gorge. Then we go a little farther in, this is around 11 o'clock, but you notice it's not completely the entire metro area, right? It's just coming in, hitting Portland, and then getting a little there off to the west side of it. And then as we go through, by the time we get to the evening, it's dry. It is a little on the colder side, but we're seeing that moisture going away. So even though it'll be chilly, we don't see anything. Now we're all the way to Friday. Did you notice nothing came through?
Yeah.
We're expecting to be mainly dry. So that's the good news.
Okay.
in all of this is with what we could see tomorrow morning, it's mostly like late morning, early afternoon. And then once we get into the evening, so it's not an evening event like we had last night. And then we keep going, and there we go. Not until we get to Saturday morning do we see any chance for any new precipitation. So here's what we have for everybody to know about is we have a first alert day for the Portland metro area, but we're expecting it to be on the east of Portland into the gorge. We're not doing it for the entire Portland metro, Beaverton, or anywhere south of that. It's just East Portland to the gorge. That's where we have that threat for freezing rain tomorrow.
Quick question. When you say East Portland, is that specific? Is there a general borderline where you're...
Most people, when we say east, know where we're
205?
talking about. If you're in an area that's impacted by the east wind, that's what we're talking about. Okay.
All right.
So that's where your temperatures will be down below freezing again. It's for that renewed icing on the roads. Temperatures will be below freezing. It may coat objects again. But then look at the bottom. Regular rain for the most of rest of us. All areas will be dry in the evening.
Good.
Okay, so not quite so much of a concern. We'll take a look here at the 7-day before we finish up. So first alert day tomorrow for East Metro and the Gorge. Then there's Friday. Look at that. Low 40s, mainly dry.
I like it.
Still have a little cold east wind. And then we get into the weekend, and I think Monday might be the day that everybody's eye is gravitating toward because 50 would feel like a tropical vacation.
Yes, it would.
Right now, right? And the overnight temperatures, that's another very important thing. Again, you'll see everything mid-upper 30s, low 40s. That's when it really helps. So I say be ready for the thaw to take a little while, especially maybe through Friday. And then once we get into Saturday, that's when hopefully those side roads and untreated surfaces should be back.
54, I'm gonna wear shorts outside. I mean, that's so warm.
Shorts and flip-flops,
yes,
right?
absolutely. That works for me.
So,
all right, well, so it's gonna take a little bit longer.
Take a little longer, and we still have a small area of threat that we need to pay attention to for tomorrow.
Okay, all right, but that's good though. Overall, at least going a little bit better.
No major systems, no major snow, rain, freeze, wind events, anything other than the East Metro and Gorge tomorrow that we have in our extended forecast.
But the key things too that you were talking about at the beginning as well, when it comes to the roads, those side roads, it could be a while before those thaw out.
Yes.
And that's why it's really important to be very careful out there if you're driving. I mean, I know we talked to Portland Bureau of Transportation earlier today. I know that they've done a lot of treatments on the main roads.
Yes.
The main places really where TriMet goes, because that's what they were trying to keep open for emergency lanes and for TriMet.
Yeah.
So those roads might be a little bit better. But
once you turn off the main road, that's when you have to be ready, slowing down early, looking ahead, seeing if there's, maybe there's some cars that have slid off ahead of you, kind of just, the general look.
Yeah. Yep. And yesterday we did a segment actually about driving in that weather and what to do should you start to slide. So I encourage everybody to go take a look at that. Yep. Turning in, don't hit your brakes because then you're at the mercy of wherever your car is going to go.
Yep.
It's going to do what it wants to at that point, but try to turn into it and maybe get yourself out of it. So there's some important lessons there that we have a whole segment on here for Fox 12 now. You can take a look at.
And I just want to say really quick, again, I was doing traffic last night, and I just want to thank everybody for how little we saw on the roads. I was looking at every camera I could find to see what was going on. I only reported 2 minor crashes, and they were cleared up very quickly.
That's good.
So we had very, very little activity out there. Everybody got to where they needed to be, and they stayed, and for good reason.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I went out to my car to get to the hotel last night, there was a layer of ice that I had to, before I could take off.
Yeah.
I had to clean that sucker and get it nice. Fortunately, this hotel's not too far. It was safe enough to get there.
Yeah, we were lucky on that aspect. I am seeing just a couple of quick questions.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Somebody's asking PDX airport area. I think that's kind of what we kind of covered there.
It's unfortunately one of the areas that is the slowest because it's impacted by that east wind, so it takes longer for that area to get warmed up. Last check, this could have changed, just know, but last check they only had 1 runway open. And so flights are being canceled and diverted and things like that. So it's one of the areas that is impacted the longest by the cold temperatures and the east wind.
So definitely check your airline if you're heading out there for a flight to make sure that that's still scheduled.
And incoming flights as well.
Oh, yeah.
So our Camilla was coming in and she got diverted to Redmond.
Oh, really?
And then because the only one, so it was a trek for her to get home.
That's a lot, too. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Poor Camilla. It's being asked, when will the gorge unthaw and I-84 open?
So the I-84 is until further notice because, as you saw, it's not really breaking up right now, and then we have another round coming in tomorrow morning. So you can always do the ODOT trip check. And I do know also ODOT put on their X account that all of the rest stops and parking areas are completely full of semis right now.
Yeah.
And so they're saying if you have to be going that way, wait where you are until it opens up because there's nowhere to park. If you get to that closure, there's nowhere to go because all the semis are taking that because they were en route to where they needed to go when it got closed, so they had to pull off on both ends. So at this point, it's until further notice. There has not been an update given as to when that will open, especially with what's expected that we just talked about for tomorrow.
So could be a little longer then on that one. And the other question that somebody asked you is about school closures. We'll keep everybody up to date on that as soon as we get the info that they send out. So we've got them updated at the website, kptv.com. You can go there and take a look. And then, of course, the 4 o'clock news coming up here in 20 minutes. So I have to look at the time or less. So we'll have some updates on that too, if there are any to give. So as soon as we find out, we'll let you know.
And Mark and I've talked about that there could be a point where because maybe the west side has started thawing out and things, maybe the west side is able to open up tomorrow, but the east side or those impacted by the east wind can't.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, you know, you're just going to have to pay attention to our website. We always update everything there, and then look at the schools. Salem Kaiser waited to call it till this morning. I know that Westland Wilsonville, they had all their evening activities, and then they just sent out an email saying that's been canceled for tonight. So some of these schools, I don't think they want to close. They're trying to.
I'm sure they don't want to.
But they're waiting and making a call. So it's one of those things we're constantly updating that as they come in.
Well, and follow along, and that's what you do so amazing at.
Try.
And everybody here, keeping track of all of that. So that is a lot of work to follow all the crazy weather that we have here.
We've been busy.
Crazy weather is my term, but that's what we're calling it. I mean, it's wild. So thank you very much for interpreting all of this for us. And thank you to everybody who joins us too here for Fox 12 Now. If this is your first time watching here over the last several days, we're here live every weekday starting at 1 p.m. and then throughout the day if there's breaking news or things that are really important that we need to get to you, we'll come live with you, live with that as well. There we go. It's been a long day. It's been a long couple of days. But thank you very much for joining us. And of course, our 4 p.m. newscast will have all the updated information as well. And Katie, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate
Anytime
it.
I can, I'll be here.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Katie Zuniga. This is Fox 12 Now.